Welcome to This Week in Hastings Headline History, where we take a look back at what was making news in Hastings, Florida, over a century ago. These articles are directly out of the pages of the Hastings Herald, which was published weekly in the early 1900s. So sit back and enjoy as I share with you a few of the stories from the October 3rd, 1919 edition. Confiscated whiskey stolen from local jail. Rufus Holland, a driver for a Jacksonville concern, is held under bond by the county court to answer to the charge of transporting liquor into this county. He was arrested at Hastings, but a man with him at the time fled at the approach of officers and escaped. Holland claims that he did not know what the packages contained, and he hauled them from Jacksonville to Hastings, believing them to contain ordinary merchandise. Several hundred quarts of whiskey were found in the truck when it was searched. The liquor was stored in the Hastings jail, but was subsequently stolen by a party who broke into the jail. Many bottles were broken when the jail was entered, but a large quantity of booze was carried off. Deep Creek Bridge in dangerous condition. The condition of the Deep Creek Bridge has excited much unfavorable comment from local residents and motorists who use this section of the Dixie Highway frequently. One of our citizens took the trouble to make a careful investigation of the supports of the bridge and reports that they are in a badly decayed state, some of the posts failing altogether to make contact with the bridge. To add to the general instability, there are holes in the floor large enough to endanger the lives of men and animals, and capable of wrecking automobiles whose drivers might be unacquainted with the condition of the structure. The passage of heavy road trucks over it have tended to make this condition more serious, and with a continuation of the heavy traffic that is operated over the bridge, it is but a matter of a short time before it will be dangerous to use this passageway. If this important link in the highway is neglected indefinitely, it may result in the loss of life. County Superintendent favors bonds for new school building. In a recent letter to J.W. Chase of the local school trustees, D.D. Corbett, St. John's Superintendent of Public Instructions, expressed his approval of the interest Hastings is manifesting in a better school, saying that if the people of Hastings were in favor of a bond issue at this time, he would do all in his power to help the proposition along. E.N. Calhoun has advised the school committee that 2 elections will be required for enlarging the present school district. First, the district will have to be abolished and a new district created, taking in the proposed new boundaries. After the district has been reorganized, another election will be required for the bond issue. Mr. Calhoun is the only attorney in the county who has organized a special tax school district. He has agreed to represent Hastings in the campaign. The local trustees with the People's Committee expect to appear before the county school board at their meeting October 7th in the interest of the Better School campaign. They want as many citizens to go with them as can do so. Let's make up a large party and show how thoroughly we are interested in this matter. What were the local leaders up to this week? On last Friday night, Mayor Burt called a special meeting of the town council to attend urgent matters, the main items being as follows. The sewers need immediate attention and were ordered cleaned and put in good condition. Attention was called to the connection of the Palatka Highway with the boulevard, and a paved connection recommended. And the council ordered the Street and Lane Committee to figure on arrangements to get the brick from the county and do the paving. The continuation of cleaning of all ditches was ordered. An amendment for the automobile ordinance was adopted, forcing all cars to use mufflers in the town. The city attorney was ordered to collect the back road taxes due to the town from the county. The resignation of Chaz E. Kettle as councilman was accepted, as Mr. Kettle is now living in St. Augustine, and the clerk was instructed to get after the delinquent taxes and get same collected, and as the occupation tax would be due on the 1st of October, he was told not to lose any time collecting and reporting to the marshal all refusals to pay. Attending important meeting. General Manager J.P. Beckwith of the Florida East Coast Railroad and General Passenger Agent J.D. Ronner are in Atlanta attending a meeting at the office of the Regional Director, at which preliminary arrangements will be made for the winter schedules. Pirates regulars will be in game Tuesday. Local baseball bugs are to have the privilege next Tuesday of seeing the Pittsburgh club of the National League perform against the local club. In bringing the Pittsburgh club to our city, Manager Coley has insisted that the regular lineup of the club be used, and the Pittsburgh officials have promised that this will be done as far as possible barring accident. In the outfield will be the three Major League stars, Carey, Bigby, and Southworth, while the infield will be made up of Grimm or Nicholson at first, Cutshaw at second, Terry at short, and Barbary at third. Barbary, who was out of the game for a few days on account of being spiked by Art Neff of the Giants, has returned to the game and is again putting up his usual stellar exhibition. The game was to be played at Lewis Park in St. Augustine, and according to an ad in the paper, admission was 50 cents for adults, 25 cents for children. Half holiday. A petition has been circulated here asking merchants to close their stores in order that the local baseball fans may be able to take advantage of this occasion to attend the baseball game at St. Augustine between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Saints at that place. The game will be called at 3 o'clock, and a large delegation of Hastings fans expect to go over and witness it. The local merchants agreed to close are Hastings Cooperative Association, Hastings Drug Corporation, Hastings Cold Storage Company, Hastings Cash Store, E.H. Dowdy, Z.J. Roberts, F.V. Oliver, M.A. Brown, E.G. Co. & Co., J.B. Hughes & Co. Buy early. The merchants of Hastings are asking the public to purchase their weekly supplies on Friday instead of Saturday if it is reasonably possible for them to do so. The custom has been prevalent here to wait until Saturday night to make purchases. This causes a congestion in the stores, owing to the fact that the colored element do their trading then, as they are unable to make their purchases on any other day in the week. The merchants, as a consequence, have been obliged to hire extra help, and even then have been forced to lose sales for the simple reason that they were unable to wait upon all the customers within a reasonable time. Those to whom it makes no material difference are asked, therefore, to do their trading at some other time in the week if it is possible and convenient. Frogs versus potatoes. Owing to the prolonged and unusually heavy rainfall prevailing at this season, the Hastings farmers are discussing whether it might not be more profitable to raise frogs than to raise potatoes. In their opinion, if the rain continues as it has for the past week, the outlook for potato crops will be anything but promising. In view of the audible increase in guttural croaks that resound from the swollen streams, and the added fact that frog legs are in the immediate vicinity of Hastings, and the added fact that frog legs are retailing for 30 cents a pair, it appears to the farmers that the frog trade would produce millionaires just as the potato has done heretofore. Have you wondered what folks in Hastings did for entertainment in addition to the earlier mentioned baseball games? Well, sometimes they drove into Palatka to catch a movie. Each day, 2 different movies were available. And this week's Hastings Herald has a list of the movies that would be playing over the week, which included The Lone Star Ranger, Johnny Go Get 'Em, The Tiger's Trail, Heap Big Chief, Her First Kiss, Perils of Thunder Mountain, Vamps and Variety, The Deserter, Fatty the Villain, The Hushed Hour, Topics of the Day, Merry-Go-Round, Elmo the Mighty, A Lady's Name, Winning Him Back, The Auction of Souls, and Peggy Mixes In. The Hastings Herald had more than just news stories, but also local notices that were more of a social report, a way to know what was going on in town and in the personal lives of its residents. Here are a few from this edition. Young bridal couple make Daytona a visit. Mr. and Mrs. Walter C. Hillier of Hastings visited the latter's aunt's house, Miss E. Barker, on 2nd Avenue from Saturday until Sunday afternoon, when they returned to Hastings by train. Mr. and Mrs. Hillier were married about a month ago, Mrs. Hillier having been Miss Lorraine Hunt of this city. Mr. and Mrs. Hillier took advantage of the opportunity to attend the American Legion benefit dance at the Daytona Beach Casino Saturday evening. New method of house building. Walter Proctor is erecting a house the parts of which have arrived ready to put together. This is a decided innovation in the house building line here, and even the owner is uncertain as to the practicability of the ready-made feature of the building. At any rate, the new structure has excited much speculation in the neighborhood, and its completion is awaited with interest. Bitten by snake. Joe Williams, a mechanic, was bitten by a grass snake recently, and though the wound caused some pain, the results have not been serious. Toured North and East. Elmo DuPont, who has been absent in the North and East, where he spent some time visiting the principal cities of that section, returned to Hastings the latter part of last week. Elmo enjoyed his trip immensely, but he states that Hastings looks better to him than any other town on the map. I hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Hastings Headline History. This podcast was brought to you by Presenting the Past, bringing history back to the present through historic presentations and the sale of treasures from days gone by. This episode was produced by me, Michelle Murillo, with the aid of vintage copies of the Hastings Herald. And to wrap up this week in Hastings Headline History, how about a tune from the time? A 1919 hit, Marion Harris with Take Me to the Land of Jazz.
It was down in Tennessee that the jazzy melody originated, then waited for popularity. Now in every cabaret, it's the only thing they play. I love to hear it, must be near it, that's why I say, take me to that land of jazz, let me hear the kind of blues Memphis has. I want to step to a tune that's full of ginger and pep, pick 'em up and lay 'em down, learn to do the razzmatazz, and let me give you a warning, we won't get home until morning. Everybody's full of jazz, full in the loving land of jazz. There is music in each breeze, even trombones grow on trees. You hear 'em moaning and groaning, their tuneful harmony. Every cotton planter's son, when he meets his loving hun, is simply pestered and requested to join the fun. Oh, take me to that land of jazz, let me hear the kind of blues Memphis has.